just start and run for a sec and stop. And I could not get it to keep running except by, let's see, I've disassembled it so much you can't even see it here anymore. Oh, here it is. This is the it's a bimetal choke, automatic choke. And what happens is the engine heats up pretty quickly. The metal changes properties. I think one piece of metal is on that spring inside there, you can't see, is shorter than, or is it's got two pieces of metal together, and one has a different thermal expansion and contraction rate than the other one does. So when you wind them together, it makes a spring that is sensitive to the heat. So it'll move that forward, and then what that does is it opens the choke. So the thing would start great when it worked, but what I ended up doing was pulling the lever back here, which you can't see, and that would just keep the choke. Actually, no, I'm sorry, I kept it this way, and that would keep the choke closed all the time, and what that did is force the carburetor to allow more gasoline in. But what was happening, here's the carburetor from that Quantum engine, Briggs and Stratton Quantum. It was fairly dirty inside. I had not practiced good stewardship, I guess, in the off season and let gas sit in there, and it got stale. And I didn't realize this until recently, that gas goes bad, and you build up lacquer, is what it's called, or varnish, inside of this float reservoir, which is where the gas enters the carburetor. Was just coated with this yucky material. So I used some steel wool and cleaned it off. And the real culprit, things looked okay. I mean, once I cleaned them off, this is the float, just a little plastic. You're supposed to make sure there's nothing inside, so clearly that's still good. Everything seemed to be good. Even the gaskets look pretty good. So I didn't even bother buying a kit. I saw you could get them on eBay for about 10, 11 bucks, and I was going to try to get one locally here, and figured, I don't know, it'd probably be about 15 or 20. But this is the automatic choke that I mentioned, and what I was doing was forcing it to stay closed, and that would change the air mixture. But that stopped working, and that's not a good practice anyway. And here you see the throttle. So it looked good, except for down here. Even this is where the needle, this little needle here, it's attached to the float, goes into here, and that's where the fuel comes in, and the float goes up and down and regulates the amount of gas coming in. Pretty simple, but it's worked for like 100 years, so why change it? In here needed some cleaning. There was still nothing was particularly wrong up on the top, but down here, this was the culprit. This is actually, you can get to this from the outside of the engine, and now that I know this, I guess if this happens again, if I don't practice good stewardship and allow it to get all yucky inside again, then this actually is on the bottom of the reservoir, and you can just, of course, when you pull it out, all the gas is going to come out of the reservoir there, so be mindful of that. But that should be it. If the float is, let me think here real quick. Yeah, you shouldn't have any gas in the tank either. What was wrong with this guy, this nut, looks like just a nut, but it's pretty important because I'm trying to find the holes. Can you see these holes? Where are they? There's two holes. There it is. There's one on either side, and one of them was completely plugged, and the other one was pretty much. And there's a top hole also, and what happens is the fuel comes in these holes and gets sucked up, or shot up, however you want to say it. Sucked up, I guess. the little jet here, and that flows into here, into the innards of the carburetor. And eventually that'll go up that, I don't know if you can see the brass nozzle there, brass nozzle down in the middle here. I don't know if you can see that. That's actually where the gas comes in, so pretty darn important. Basically gas was not getting in because this thing was plugged up. And like I said, easy to get to. It's right on the bottom of the carburetor float vessel, and that's it. I'll put it back together and we'll see what happens. Okay, she's put back together. And let's see if it starts. Wow, first pull.